Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty. We're going to look at American Caper today. A story comic book that really appealed to me when I first started reading about it because it gave off a very Coen Brothers vibe, a very Fargo-esque kind of story, TV show, movie, whatever you want to think about it. It had that kind of almost family drama disguised as a crime caper with lashings of weird noir elements thrown in there. Looks like it could be funny at the same time, and I was like, yeah, this is the kind of stuff I go for 100%. So happy to have given it a shot, happy that I've read it, and it does do a lot of stuff I genuinely love. The dialogue for me is one of the absolute standouts for this kind of thing because it has a wonderfully well done timing thing going on. There is a very, very nice rise and fall to the back and forth between the characters. It makes comedic timing for the written words seem like it's the easy thing that everyone can do it, but it isn't, because yes, you can lay out the stuff exactly how you want it on a page, make you think that it would be easy, but sentence structure and the flow of it really does matter, and we do see Dan Houser doing something absolutely amazing here in the characters' own distinct voices, the way they speak absolutely helps in the terms of how the comic timing delivery is done. The jokes land better because these people do have different voices, they do have different ways of expressing themselves, and when they're in conversation with each other, they set up the subversion, the punchline, all flows just so naturally. And it's a very dry humour as well. It's not this is going all out for laughs. This is not slapsticky, it is not crude, it is not gross, slap your back kind of humour. It is far closer to Marvelous Mrs. Maisel without ever really trying as hard as that show did. It feels far more naturalistic, it feels far more just, these are people who exist in the world who have hard, complicated lives, and how those lives play out is kind of absurd in its own way, and just simply discussing and living in it is funny, but then it is the timing, I say, which comes off really, really effectively. And also the characters are brilliant. We have two main focus characters in this, two people who are both kind of opposite to each other, but similar in ways that neither of them would admit would make sense. They are both living lives of quiet suburban desperation from the outside, but have far more going on underneath than you'd expect. And I really do like how this is delivered. It isn't just hammered home, it's done through exposition in character. There are times when we get that noir sensibility of the voiceover narration explaining what's going on from a first person point of view. Works very effectively to add these layers to who these people are. Unfortunately, not every character is that complex. There are a couple of kind of one-note characters we see in this, and it is probably my biggest criticism is how these one-notes are delivered. Because one is a racist, homophobic, transphobic, MAGA piece of shit, and the other one is a kind of extreme performative leftist. Now, I am a leftist, and I don't think I want to hang out with this person. They would strike me as quite annoying with how performative they are, and how quick they are to blame other people without looking for solutions. I know quite a few leftists, and hardly any of them are like that. It feels like it's a far more extreme version of that kind of thing, but I'm not saying it doesn't exist, I'm not saying it would be annoying. But Hauser, when he's talking about this, especially in the back matter, does make note of the fact that it feels like people on both sides have gone to these kind of extremes, and that kind of equivalence of both sides is slightly problematic. As I say, one of them is gun-toting, calling for death to people she disagrees with. The other one is annoying and would rather those people weren't wishing death on other people. It reminds me of the meme I see fairly often, that if you leave fascists alone, what they will want to do is commit violence and hopefully kill people that they disagree with and they see as not worthy of life. If you leave anti-fascists alone, they'll get high and watch TV. It feels like, yeah, no matter how bad people might be on either side, the equivalency is incorrect and wrong. And I really hope if anyone reads this comic book, they might see that Hauser stationing himself as somewhere in the middle, where a lot of people are, might see how false that equivalency is. I can only hope, at least. But the story's cool, I like the beats, I like what's building up. For an issue one, it does just enough setup with some fantastic little beats to really elevate it to the point that I'm not just here for the setup, I'm here for the story. And I've got to say the artwork is brilliant. Laszlo really does a good job. Mostly what we get is character stuff here. We don't have much in the way of action, much in the way of fantastical scenes, but what we do get is brilliant. There is some rather wonderful and gory moments of Middle America captured, but as I say, it's mostly a character kind of thing, and he absolutely nails this thing of not quite going for, well, not even trying to go for photorealism, going for slightly stylized, but avoiding the uncanny valley and avoiding just going too far into caricature. Very, very effective design on every single character in the comic book. You get a sense of who they are just on a very quick glance at them, and as the comic goes on, you see more and more depth come out, and honestly, great looking comic, very well written. That's it for me for now, though. Until I see you all again, look after yourself, everyone. Stay safe. Bye!